Hi there, welcome to another Team Clueless battle report. We've broken out the pink terrain again for a battle today. Mark and I are, there's Mark over there, looking very beardy today, Mark.
And drinking tea.
And drinking tea. Mark and I are going to a tournament at 40k Gaming in Colchester in about a month's time. So we've still got a bit of painting to do, and we decided that we'd have a bit of a practice game today. It's a 2,000 point tournament. It's a single force all tournament, so you're not allowed to double up. Mark and I are both taking allies though, and we are both playing Space Marines today from the new codex. We are going to play Dawn of War, so we each have a long table edge. Mark is going to be setting up over there. I'm going to be setting up over here, and we're playing Big Guns Never Tire. So we have already deployed our objectives. We have one objective there. One objective there. One objective. Where's the next one, Mark?
You got one there and you got two there.
Oh yes. One objective there. I forgot where I put the objective. That's a good sign, isn't it? And one objective there near the centre of the table.
The two you deployed.
Yeah, I forgot the two I deployed. Look, they're on clear bases. They're quite hard to see. We'll go through armies now. So my 2,000 point army I'm going to be taking to the tournament. Let's face it, I'm playing Space Marines and it's Diggerus. Well, I think we'll be seeing quite a lot of him in Space Marine armies. So my primary detachment is Ultramarines. I have Tiggy, and I also have a Thunderfire Cannon with his obligatory Tech Marine there. I have a Stern Guard squad. They're in a drop pod and they're armed with 2 heavy flamers and 3 combi melters. I then have a tactical squad, again in a drop pod. They have a combi plasma, a normal plasma gun and a las cannon. We have a 7-man tactical squad. I really couldn't quite get enough points to get a few more models into that squad, which is a bit annoying. They are in a drop pod. They have a flamer and a combi flamer. We have 5 Legion of the Damned. They have melter gun. What's that, Mark?
Copied off of me.
The last 2 games Mark and I have played, he's fielded this more or less exact squad, and they've been awesome every game. So I bought some stuff, painted some stuff, and I have them ready. And I'd like to note, I have them ready before you finished yours, Mark.
You're still copying me.
So I'd like to think that you're copying me as mine are ready. So they're armed with trip melter, so they've got a combi melter, a melter gun, and a multi-melter.
I've seen that before.
Yes, it's a really, really different squad that I've pulled out of the recesses of my brain. I have a Devastator squad. They have 3 rocket launchers and a las cannon. I have a... Okay, I'm going to get this name right all game today. I have a Stalker. And finally, I have, in the Ultramarines attachment, a Storm Talon, which, again, I think is one of the best units in the Codex and we'll be seeing quite a lot of. It's got the 3 Strength 7 missiles. So that's the primary Ultramarine detachment. And then I have... They may look like they're part of the same army because they're the same colour, but these are, what should we call them today? These are going to be the Scarlet Scars again today. So I have a White Scar Bike detachment allied into my Ultramarines. We are led by a Chapter Master on bike. He's the standard beefy Chapter Master that everyone uses. He's got a Thunder Hammer, he's got the Eternal Warrior's shield, he's got Artificer armour, obviously he's on a bike, and he also has an Auspex. He is rocking around with a squad of 5 bikes. One of them is an attack bike. They've got 2 melter guns and a multi-melter on the attack bike. And then we have another troop squad of 5 bikes. They have 2 normal grav guns and 1 combi grav gun on the sergeant. And that is my 2,000 points. Let's see how similar Mark's is.
Right, apologies once again, I'm in the middle of deployment, so it's a little bit more hodgepodge than normal. I too am led by Tiggy Auto-Take because he's so unbelievably broken. This is part of a 5-man tac squad which have been combat squadded out. I have 2 full tac squads in Rhinos. One's got melter, multi-melter. Oh, sorry, they both got melter, multi-melter. I have 3 Thunderfire cannons, 1, 2, 3. I do have various Tech Marines to go with them. I have, from the Dark Angels alignment, I've got a Libby in there on a bike, and they've got a squad of 5-man command squad of Black Knights. We've got the Apothecary and the Chapter Champion in there. The Libby's also got Auspex and the Power Field Generator. From the Dark Angel contingent, my troop squad is going to be a 5-man squad with a las cannon. I have another Ultramarines 5-man squad with a las cannon. Down here. So these are the remnants of the guys who are in the vehicles. I also have 2 squads of Legion of the Damned.
Copycat!
Yeah. I'm different though. These Trip Melter, one of them, this guy here, the sergeant who's cool, he's going to have a power axe. I have a scout squad with absolutely no upgrades whatsoever. I have 2 storm talons. One of them's got the sky hammer, one of them's just got the heavy bolters, because in the games I've played I keep on just using the turret and never actually firing the sky hammers. So I'm just going to see kind of how it works in this sort of test game. For psychic powers, Tigerius got misfortune, perfect timing and prescient, so he rolled really, really well. And the Dark Angel's Libby has just got forewarning.
Oh, while you're on there, for my Tiggy got Psychic Shriek plus Misfortune and Prescience as well. We both rolled pretty well there.
Yeah, so we're all quite happy. And I have first turn currently. Right then guys, this is the end of deployment. Scouts moves infiltrating. He's got his Stalker down here around his boosted terrain with his Devastators. Down here he's got his Chapter Master and his Melter attack bikes, Thunderfire Cannon, and then his Grav bikes. Over here I've got my Las Cannon and one of my Thunderfires. I've got another attack squad with a Las Cannon. I've got my Scouts which have infiltrated down here. 2 more Thunderfires, remains of a combat squad. I've got Tiggy with the other half of that combat squad, and then I've got my other, both 10-man attack squad in there. I've scout moved these bikers up, which is sort of the Plasma Talon, Libbies, etc. And then he's rolled to seize and failed, so it'll be the start of my turn 1. Okay, the end of my turn 1. Not a great turn at all. Didn't get first blood or anything like that. So most of my stuff remains static. I've had a couple of las cannons ineffectually, 1 miss, 1 hit. Thunderfire cannons didn't do particularly well. I think they killed 1 marine between them. These guys had scout moved up, and then I had Tiggy join the unit to give them ignore cover. And they moved up here, fired into Devastators, and they, however, only managed to kill a couple of marines. However, he does have a leadership test to do, which we'll do in a second. And then he has failed the leadership test.
Have failed the leadership test.
This makes it a slightly better turn for me.
7. I think he's probably. I think he's off the board.
Okay, so.
Well, no, he can't get through that gap, luckily. So we're gonna have to measure. Look at this exciting.
Here we go.
So what do they think? So he can't get through this gap here.
Right, we'll move that.
So he's going to have to come around that edge. And he's off the board.
Oh,
okay, that's a much better turn for Mark.
Live action replay.
God dear, that was awful.
It went from a really, really bad turn to an actually pretty
that was good
turn.
first blood there for you now.
First blood and plus 1 point for killing the heavy support.
Yeah, really good for you now.
So yes, that my turn was actually quite good. I'm going to redo the whole video now. Turn was quite good. I killed some Devastators enough to pause the leadership test. They now ran off the board, so it's been a pretty good turn. This guy, however, has taken a peril's wound on my first goddamn roll. Even Tiggy tried to join in the fun, but luckily I had a re-roll.
Luckily he's Tiggy and he's Brocken.
Yes, Tiggy, thank God. This guy's popped smoke. Other than that, now I've got some drop pods coming into my grid, and we'll see what happens.
Red Marines turn 1. So, at the end of the last video, which was probably about 10 seconds ago, you saw me fail my leadership check on my Devastators over here, which kind of changed my game plan. I'd put those over there to try and draw Mark that way, because there were obviously no objectives over this side of the board other than this one, and the other objectives are all clustered over there. But I was going to drop down and attempt to wipe out his squad with the Librarian and Tiggerus in, but losing the extra 2 missile launchers really kind of threw it out, because they would have hopefully killed a couple at the front there. So I decided to go over here instead. Unfortunately, my rolling wasn't particularly good. I managed to kill the Thunderfire Cannon using my combi melters. It's gone back there, but the Tech Marine is still alive. And there is 1 Marine in the centre here. There are only 5 Marines in there to start with. They fired this squad plus this squad all in there, and he just went to ground and didn't die, unfortunately, which was a bit of an issue. So for my Alpha Strikey drop pod, it didn't really do a lot. I've moved my 2 bikes up. They're both turbo boosted, and they're in the centre of the board with a bit of line of sight blocking. They weren't really in range. In fact, I'd had to deploy over here due to the scout bikes. Basically, I'm really scared of the bikes. They do a number on any unit in my army, so I have to really play a game of cat and mouse, and I think how they do this game will really determine the outcome of the game. They'll either do really well and just walk through my army, or I'll be able to catch them and I'll destroy them, and then hopefully I'll be able to walk through Mark's army. But we shall see what happens. I fired my Thunderfire Cannon over there, but the new barrage rules, as Mark found in his turn, just makes Thunderfires exceedingly inaccurate. If you scatter on the first roll, then basically you're just not killing anything. I went over there, I managed to get a single wound on a scout after I'd fired at the big clump of Thunderfire Cannons, but didn't do anything to the scout, so Thunderfire Cannon fired did nothing. It's an interesting conundrum with those. I've got another one that I want to put in the list, but I'm thinking probably points best spent elsewhere at the moment.
Right then guys, this is the end of my turn 2. All my reserves came in using Tiggy's reroll, which is always good. Two Thunder Fire Cannons have fired down here into Tigerius' squad. They only managed to kill one guy, and with the last cannon up here, they've also managed to kill one more, but he's passed his pinning test and his leadership test. Tech Marine used his flamer and plasma pistol. He killed one, and this snap shooting guy managed to kill one. But in the assault, we only drew combat, so no damage down here. Two Storm Talons came in, and they fired into the Grav Gun Bike Squad and killed 3 of them, or 4 of them?
Yeah, 3 of them.
3 of them down here, which is also quite useful. Turn started off not that great because he made his Deny the Witch on my Misfortune. However, the Legion of Damn Squad deep strike in, both of them rolled hits with my rerolls, and I managed to kill 3 of them, including the company champion. So it makes it a little bit more awkward for him to come in and charge my Plasma Talon squads. On the Plasma Talon squad, I was a little bit differing, but in the end I decided I'd go for the heavy support point and stop him screwing that objective, and also means he's got one less thing to shoot my flies down with. So they've gone in and they easily killed that using Hammer Wrath hits. All in all, not too bad a turn, so we'll have to see what happens at the end of his turn. Save that turn.
Okay, so it's Red Marines turn 2. All my reserves arrived also. Good old Tiggy, he really is the man for all seasons. So my Storm Talon came in on the middle of the board and shot at Mark's fly. I was hoping to at least get a hull point or something on it, but I didn't roll very well on my to hit rolls. No, on my penetration rolls I rolled to hit quite well, and only got 1 through, which Mark jinked. So he's gone into jink mode, which isn't quite as bad as it could be. My drop pod arrived down here, and the squad got out. That's the 10-man squad. They, along with 5 Stern Guard with 2 Heavy Flamers down here, fired at the Legion of the Damned squad. I did a good 20 wounds to them, and unsurprisingly they disappeared, which was good. Over here I was much more lucky. Mark had his other 5 Legion of the Damned over there, so I fired the 2 remaining bikers from my 2 bike squads at the Legion of the Damned there. I got 5 wounds on him combined from both squads, and Mark failed all 5 saves. That was pretty atrocious for Mark there. Failing even just one of those left alive is a big threat to any of the units around there, but failing all 5 of them was really unlucky. So that really cheered me up that turn, because that was needed. So over there is reasonably clear at this point. I dropped my own Legion of the Damned down here. This is where my luck betrayed me back. They all fired their ignoring cover melter guns at the back of this Thunderfire and his Tech Marine, thinking I just need 1 wound and the Tech Marine dies, and then the Thunderfire's dead. I didn't get a single wound with anything on him, which was pretty bad. I really needed that because I've got lots of bunched up units over here, so the Thunderfires are going to be quite dangerous to me. Next up, my Chapter Master moved forwards and got in combat with the Scouts. Unfortunately, the Scouts managed to run away at the end of combat, which was really bad because I wanted to lock him in combat and then obviously hit and run on my turn. But luckily he consolidated and found this nice little bit of wall which is perfectly Chapter Master on bike sized, so he's a little protected from the firepower that Mark has over on that side of the battlefield. Obviously he's not protected from the firepower Mark has here and such. Other things, our Tech Marine versus Stern Guard combat here was pretty atrocious. We all missed all of our attacks, so nothing happened. Mark still has a 1 guy down on the floor here. He went to ground again after I fired both my Storm Bolters from my drop pods at him. Tiggerus' squad moved sideways slightly and fired at the 5 Tactical Marines Mark had on this bit of terrain. Psychic Shriek is just awesome as always at taking out anything. So Mark has 1 dude left annoyingly, so he has 1 dude left there and 1 dude left there, which is not ideal for my plans. Other than that, anything you can think of, Mark? My brain's a bit mushy today. Don't think so.
No.
That was my turn. Let's see what Mark can do.
Okay, this is the end of my turn 3. Interesting turn, not great, not bad at the same time. 2 Storm Talons have gone over here. I was quite lucky in this one here, managed to Skyfire and take off 1 whole point from a glancing hit. Because I popped my Tactical Doctrine, these 2 guys managed to fire multi-melters up. I managed to get 1 hit, 1 pen, and that actually managed to blow up the Storm Talon. And the explosion even killed one of the Tactical Marines down here. Combat down here, still ineffectual, no real damage done down here. Down here I had popped my Tactical Doctrine, as I said, tried to shoot the Legion down, didn't kill a single one. Tech Marine fired his Flamer, getting 5 hits on Plasma Pistol, only killed 1. Charged in, and none of us did anything in close combat. Other than that, this guy managed to snap shoot and kill 1 of the grav guns, so that was quite important, but and also a leadership test as well.
Oh yeah.
Which he passed, and these guys are just turbo boosted. So that is the end of my turn.
It It is Red Marines turn 3. It was a big swing this turn, not through any tactical genius, but from luck mainly. So down here I've got a lot of my infantry down here and 3 of the objectives. There's one there, one over there, and one over there. So there are 3 objectives in the vicinity, so it's quite an important area of the table. But there's no real any of Mark's infantry down here for me to shoot other than single guys. So I basically fired this squad, were prescienced by Tigris. They fired up at the rear of the Storm Talon, which I'd also made re-roll any successful saves. But my 2 plasma guns and las cannons only got 1 hit, and I failed to penetrate with that. So the 2 Storm Talons are looking quite pretty. I also fired my melter gun, multi-melter on the back of the bike up at this Storm Talon, but failed to hit. Tigris' squad decided that the whole squad would deal with this one Marine who's standing there. Failed to hurt him, unfortunately. He's gone to ground. He's got a 2-up save due to Mark bolstering the ruins there and this hill thing here. So they've got 2-ups when they've gone to ground. So both of these Marines have still gone to ground, and I'm not firing a lot at them, but whatever I'm firing at them, he's bouncing with his 2-up saves. But luckily, his 2-up save did not help him over here. I hit him with my Legion of the Damned, who are in combat with his Tech Marine over here, and Mark failed all 3 of his saves there. He only needed to fail 1, so Tech Marine removed. Obviously he takes a fun fire with him, so that's a VP for the heavy support, and the Legion of the Damned are free to wreak havoc on the rest of his units down there. Moving over here, I moved this guy over there just to sail away, because he's obviously still a scoring model. He's still got some use, but he's used his combi gun, so he's not going to actually be firing much. I fired my Thunderfire cannon, and this is where the real luck moves into place. I fired my Thunder cannon at Mark's bike squad. I'd got 2 models underneath it. One was the Libby, one was the Chapter Champion.
Yeah.
And I managed to get 7 wounds on them. I just rolled 3 hits and 1 small scatter. 1 landed on top of the Chapter Champion, killed him outright. Mark failed all his feel no pains here. And then I got another 2 wounds on the squad, which you look outside from his Librarian, but unfortunately the next 2 models were, one of which was the Apothecary who died, and the other was just a standard guy.
Yes.
So that took the squad down to 3 models, Librarian and 2 remaining of the Black Knights. I'd moved my Chapter Master over here just so he could affect these 2 units, and seeing the opportunity he then strode into combat and mulched the Librarian with his Thunderhammer. And then Mark failed his hit and run check, so he's now locked in combat with the Chapter Master, who's realistically going to squish those 2 next turn, and even if he doesn't, he's got hit and run, so he can bounce away. So that was a huge swing in the game, because Mark had a fully unhurt bike squad, and now he's basically got no bike squad. So big swing in the game there, and it was all due to my incredibly lucky Thunderfire cannon. Other than that, the Tech Marine down here is still holding strong in combat with the Stern Guard. I did loads of wounds this turn, and Mark has still failed to hit me at all with his Power Fists on the back of his Tech Marine. So let's see what he can do with his turn 4.
Right, this is the end of my turn 4. So down here, in a repeat of what I did before, only this time charging Tech Marines, I moved my Tactical Squads and my Tech Priest. Managed to kill a couple with shooting, a couple more in close combat, and haven't lost anyone there, so that's not too bad. Hopefully I can kill him before he kills my Tech Marine and gets another 3 points. Down here, the Chapter Master killed the remaining 2 guys, which is kind of expected, and has taken 1 wound out, which is kind of useful, I suppose. Snap shooting has done nothing. Tech Marine still failed every single time.
What do you mean he hit loads this turn, Mark?
Yeah, he hit twice and rolled 2 once. Yeah, he's my all-star failure today. These guys positioned, I really wanted to kill this Melt attack bite because that was kind of his last real decent anti-vehicle weapon. Unfortunately, he's only taken a wound. So really I'd say not a particularly great turn. I did manage to kill the las cannon down here, but other than that, I think it's a Curly's to lose.
Red Marines turn 4? Yes, turn 4. So we've got 1 more turn each and then possibly some more afterwards. So let's go side of the table to side of the table. This combat over here is a complete stalemate. Mark didn't hurt me with hundreds of attacks, and I didn't hurt him with my single attack that hit. Moving across, Mark had moved his Rhino with 2 half-tactical squads in over to here last turn, and the objective is right there. So I decided that my Stern Guard and my about 7 tactical Marines that were left in the original Plasma squad, they moved over, they crack grenaded it twice from range, and then ran in and assaulted and blew it up in assault. Fortunately, it does give Mark's squad the opportunity to get out and roast me alive, but I needed to take it out and get them out of the transport. So the main issue I've been having in this game is I don't have a whole lot of anti-tank. Mark took out most of it in the first turn, so I can't really reach out and destroy his transport, so I've had to get up close and personal, as it were. My Stormbolters again fired at this lone Marine on top here. He went to ground again and didn't die. The 3 tactical Marines down here, Stern Guard down here, I was getting fed up with that combat with the Tech Marine. I really wanted my guys back, so Tigorus cast Prescience on my squad and cast Misfortune on Mark's Tech Marine, but Mark obliged by rolling the first dice as a 1 for his saves and keeled over. Tigorus' squad are slowly moving back to get onto the objective back here. Both the bike squads combined together, I managed to multi-melter and take a whole point off the Storm Talon, and then I charged in and again crack grenades took out the Storm Talon. I've used so many crack grenades this turn, it's been ridiculous. Thunderfire Cannon, hiding over there behind the hill, he fired over at this Rhino, hoping that I was going to be able to pop it this turn and then get the guys out so I could then assault with my Chapter Master, but I only managed to get 2 hull points, which was pretty good rolling in and of itself. So then the Chapter Master had to assault in and destroyed the Rhino. The squad is now out, but they get obviously a turn of shooting at my Chapter Master. We also realised this turn that I've forgotten to use my Chapter Master's Orbital Bombardment yet again. I've never used it on the model, and because I've never used it, I keep on blooming well forgetting it. So it's turn 5 next. What's the time? I have no clue what the time is, so I just looked at my clock and I can't remember if I've put it forwards yet. Oh, yeah. We'll find out.
Okay, this is the end of my turn 5. This combat here still is ineffectual, nothing's happened. Down here, this squad did really well. It's flaming through a frag grenade and got plenty of hits down here. We've managed to kill all the Stern Guard and about 2 of the attack squads. These guys weren't so useful. I think maybe killed one of them, but they passed their leadership. Down here, Storm Talon did okay, killed the attack bike. So we'll have to see what happens down there. And down here, I put 1 more wound on the Chapter Master. So at the end of my turn 5, the Curdy is currently winning the game because he scores 1 objective, which is this one down here. And he's also currently scoring this one. So if the game ends at the end of Curdy's turn, he's going to win. So all to play.
Okay, Red Marines turn 5, possibly the last turn of the game. So, this turn, due to my cunning forgetfulness earlier in the game, I haven't fired my orbital bombardment. So, my bike, what's his name? Chapter Master over here, backed away a little and then orbital bombardment straight on top of Mark's Tigorus head. I hit 4 of his Marines, including Tigorus. Mark failed one of the lookout sirs. He went to ground to grab a 6-up save, but it instant death Tigorus and killed the other 3 Marines to boot. My Chapter Master then charged in. He took another wound on the charge, meaning he was down to his last remaining wound, but then he flailed around with his Thunderhammer and smashed the Marines' heads in and has then moved back out of line of sight of anything. So that was a pretty good bit of turn for me there. Over here, Shock Horror, we're still locked in combat. Mark did 3 wounds to me this turn. His Tech Marine actually stepped up to the plate, but the invulnerable save on the old Legion of the Damned has been pretty boss, and I'm made all 3 of my saves, so I'm sitting in combat there. Over here, we're kind of like contesting, well, we're not actually contesting because I'm scoring it at the moment, but we're having a bit of a fight over this central objective. Mark had his 2 halves of tactical squads out there, so I moved my tactical squad back and poured fire into this half, managing to take 2 of the Marines off. My Stern Guard, that had previously been fighting a Tech Marine over here a couple of turns ago, had turned around the corner and they'd been prescienced by Tigorus. They unloaded onto this half of squad and managed to take out 2 of them with their Marine killing rounds. So that was not bad. Mark passed both his leadership tests, but we're kind of like still reasonably even in numbers of Marines in this quarter. Over here, I think Mark had forgotten about the Tech Marine being able to leave the Thunderfire, so my Tech Marine sprinted sideways, and mine can actually hit in combat, and it ripped a Storm Talon, which had gone into hover mode, in half. And that was the only thing that could really threaten my 2 bikers, which are down here, which are both scoring this objective. So I've got a bit of redundancy there. So at this point of the game, I have that objective. I have this objective over here with Tigorus' squad that's moved back. I'm scoring this one over here, and nobody is scoring the one over there. Mark's killed 2 of my heavy supports, the 2 he killed in that corner at the start of the game, and I've killed 2 of his Thunderfires, so we've each got 2 of those points. I've got Slay the Warlord, Mark has First Blood, so I'm winning at the moment due to the objective scoring. So Mark, let's see if the mission ends on 1 or 2. He's hidden the dice. It is game over. Good game, Mark.
Play.
So we're going to have a quick discussion, see if the camera's battery lasts long enough. So Mark, first thoughts on the battle?
It was really interesting, but I think it was, I don't know, I like to think it was a tipping point, which was, as we said here, when I lost 3 or 4 of my guys. That was really my big counter to a lot of your kind of stuff. And once that went down,
because I'd been petrified the whole game of that squad, hadn't I? It was really affecting the way I was playing.
And it really, really quickly kind of then meant things spiraled out of control. I mean, the Tech Marines did so bad in close combat. I mean, didn't kill.
Yeah.
Just even, you know, realistically against 3 Stone Guard, I should have probably killed 1 or 2 of them.
Oh yeah, even if you didn't win the combat, reducing their numbers, because the Stone Guard, they came round and they shot some last turn, then they shot another couple this turn, so they're adding to the fight.
So I think once that squad down, it really quickly spiraled out of control for me.
My chapter master was then kind of off the leash, wasn't he? Because I was moving him, because that squad, if they came close, they could really put a lot of pain onto the chapter master with their plasma talons, and even in assault with all the rending attacks, they would have done a number on him.
Yeah, definitely. But not only that, it wasn't just a chapter master. It was anything in your army had a massive threat bar that had to stay away from.
Yeah, exactly, because they got a 30-inch I'll kill anything in my army zone, didn't they?
And they just massively, when I lost those 3-4 guys to Thunder Fight, it was 3 important people as well.
Yeah, that's it. It was the characters, which then let me charge in, and I picked out the librarian using my chapter master, because there were no other characters to take the wounds, and you'd lost your apothecary as well, so reduce their survival. It was just a massive swinging point.
It was all those sort of things, and then sort of the Legion's Dam died a bit too easy, realistically.
Yeah,
and then,
really. That squad over there in particular, 5 saves, you failed all of them.
And this one here, he just held out for so long against all my shooting down here.
Yeah, that one Legion of the Dam squad, even though they fucked up their shooting, which should have hopefully killed a Thunderfire, but they've occupied 2 Thunderfires and half a tactical squad, and they killed one of the Thunderfires, and they stopped the other Thunderfire from firing for the rest of the game. So,
I mean, which I thought. So it was definitely a game of tipping points. I like the list actually. I'm quite happy with my list.
Yes, I think, Judd, I'm more happy with your list for you than I am with my list for me. The drop pods weren't particularly effective coming down. I think I'm trying to use tactical squads, and I don't particularly want them in rhinos. And I thought I'll stick them in the drop pods, but they're just not effective enough when they arrive. They just don't kill stuff quickly enough. I think I might need to stick another couple of melters in them instead of flamers in one of the squads.
It's difficult. No one's ever.
I really like the Stern Guard. They can always do something.
Yeah, Stern Guard are very, very useful. But as you said, you want to get a lot of stuff in people's faces, but it's just such a difficult. And I'm kind of thinking about what to do. Does my list really suit Tigerius?
That's the thing. Because we had a discussion halfway through the game. Mark thought you could cast your blessings out the back of the rhino, and you actually can't. So because that's where he travels, isn't it? And he got out first turn, so that didn't really affect the game at all. But it's one of the things that you plan on being able to do.
Yeah, I mean he's still really, really good, but I'm debating whether or not someone like Volker might be better in my list.
Possibly, I've had that debate as well because I've got lots of melter and lots of flamer.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
But he's so much less of a. The reason I really like Tigris, and especially with the Ultramarine tactics, he gives you so many options at the start of the game.
Yeah.
You look at your enemy and then you can choose your powers. Like
the reroll reserves actually.
Yeah, and that's the other reason because I've got 2 free units in reserve and you've got even more units. So for 165 points, he's so even if he's not casting his powers, he's worth it.
No, I think You're right. I think I've got to have him.
Yeah.
I've just got to really sort of think hard about what I'm going to do.
He's not a simple to use thing. He's easy to use in a simple way, but to get the most out of him, he's quite difficult to use.
Yeah, because he's always got to be out of a transport, and it's not the place he wants to be.
Yeah, that's it. Because he got out one turn and all to a mum and drop on his face.
That's it. So I mean, do I have to find him, put him in a squad of Devastators?
Yeah, but if I contemplate one of the options in my list is having mine start the game with the Devastators. If I had though, he'd have been off the board turn 1. So
true, but you can't rely on that.
No, you can't.
I think it's difficult. I'm going to have to kind of have a little ponder.
That's it. I think we both learned quite a lot from the game, though. As always, we don't play enough to always remember all the rules, do we? So whenever we play each other, we're always rule book. Usually the vehicle rules we have issues with.
Yeah, but it was a good game, interesting.
Yeah, that's it. Because I thought turn 3, I thought I was done for because that squad I just couldn't see myself hurting them, and I had loads of stuff over here that wasn't really doing anything for the game. I felt quite comfortable at that point. Yeah. As I said, it was because my bikes, you decimated my bikes, and they were my counter to your bikes. And that's kind of what I relied on. Then it then just meant your bikes really couldn't commit, whereas I could keep. I had this flank. I was going to start pushing and pushing and pushing. That's it. I just envisioned you swinging round and just walking through my troop choices
Yeah, 'cause
and then
I
picking up 1 or 2 objectives.
Because I got to this point here now, and I could start going into drop pod marines. I mean, shooting wise, they can do a lot of damage.
That's it. A multi-assault in after a shoot's really powerful.
So that's kind of what I was aiming for. But
yeah, and I was being really disappointed with my chapter master because I just wasn't being able to get him into a good position.
Yeah.
Then as soon as that happened, he just went "Wah!" and rampaged across the table, swinging his thunderhammer. And in the end, he beat up some scouts. He beat up a rhino. He beat up all of the Dark Angel's bikes. He then killed Tiggerus and then beat up the rest of Tiggerus' squad. I mean, he was awesome.
He came through at the end.
I see. 1 wound left.
One, as he always is, that bastard.
That's it. I think also one of the key things, not only me taking out your bike squad, was you failing your hit and run at the end of that turn.
Yeah.
Because then you could have shot my chapter master, and then it would have been a far different story. I feel.
Yeah, they were actually they still had at least 1 plasma cannon, so I could have probably
Yeah.
put a reasonable amount of damage in. And if I needed to, I could have contemplated charging in.
Yeah.
Because I'm a lot better in charging.
Yeah, 8 attacks, rending, strength 5,
With
pretty
my hammer
powerful.
wraps after potentially lowering your toughness as well, stuff like that. So would have just been sort of slightly different. And yeah, as you said, I probably would have put more firepower onto it.
What do you think of your 3 Thunderfire cannons? That's the one thing I'm slightly dubious in your list. I love the Thunderfire cannon, and it took out the bike squad, but I'm not sure if 3 is possibly a little overloading.
But it's hard to say because you're not my sort of opportune target.
No, they're not good versus Marines.
Well, more importantly, not good versus bikes, because against normal marines
Yeah.
you can at least pin them, which
true.
is useful. So, in that regard, I'm kind of still debating. And actually, if you think about the bolster, defence was also quite pivotal.
And the other thing I come across in my list is that 100 points doesn't buy you a lot. So
No.
dropping a Thunderfire to take something else, there's not a whole lot else you can sling into the list.
Yeah, it's difficult. I do like them. I'm definitely going to take at least 2. 3. Problem is when you come up against certain lists, such as Screamer Star, I'm going to want that 3rd one. And part of me thinks you have to think about it. And also against Tau, Thunderfires are really, really good.
Yeah, that's it.
Against Eldar, realistically, if I can pop one of their transports, Thunderfires, again, really, really good. So kind of the 3 list I'm...
But again, it's we have no clue what the meta's going to be, do we?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff the Thunderfires are good against, and Marines just happen to be the thing that they're not.
That's
certainly Biker Marines, but I've got the Ravenwing Black Knights. They're my counter to bikes.
Yeah,
so.
and I think they did because they scared the shite out of me this game because they are better than my bikes.
Yeah.
They've got much better shooting attack and they're better in assault. The Chapter Master obviously swings the assault phase back to me, but the fact they're so much better at shooting me due to having so many attacks, it really does. It just means we can't clash. I will lose that assault. If I put mine up opposite yours, you will beat me with it. So just couldn't do it. And the scout move was phenomenal. It really influenced my deployment.
And if you're making them rethink, if you're making deployment.
Okay, the camera's about to die, so we've got to turn off. Thanks for the game, Mark.
Cheers.
We'll do a tournament report when we go, so you can tune in then.